Possessions and spirit attachments. What are they? To answer this question, you will hear my husband talk about the difference between them and how they affect us. Honey, would you like to begin?
Sure.
So what is the difference between possession and spirit attachment?
Well, one, an attachment is something, well, if you think about the definition, right? Mm-hmm. Attachment. What do you imagine when you hear the word attachment?
That something is like attached to me. It's just hanging on.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So because it's just on your body, it can influence you, but not that much.
Okay.
Now it does affect you, but it doesn't influence you, and that's the difference.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So, for example, if something is attached to you, you might feel pain in that area. And that's what normally happens. You know, you'll feel some pain somewhere based on whatever that thing is.
Okay.
Now, what attaches to somebody is more the question, correct?
Yes, that's what I was about to ask.
Well, just like you have virus and bacteria, people don't think about that. We call them germs. They're everywhere. Well, folks don't think about, well, there are spirit entities everywhere. And energy surrounds us in everything that we do. Your clothing has energy. Mm-hmm. The necklace has energy. Everything has energy. So it's everywhere. And because it's everywhere, then entities that have energy as well, they're everywhere as well. They're surrounding us. And just like germs or bacteria or virus, they're waiting for that moment when we have that weak, when our frequency drops enough that they can attach to us. See, even with virus, why does someone even get affected by a virus or a bacteria?
Because their immune system is weakened to the point that that virus or bacteria can take hold in their body and start affecting them.
You sound like a doctor.
I do.
Now that's how the scientists explain it.
Yes.
But that's not really the reason why. The reason why is because the frequency dropped low enough to the frequency of the bacteria or the virus.
Okay.
That's it.
Oh.
All right, everything is based on frequency. Nothing can attach to you if you're at a higher frequency than that thing.
Okay.
It can't happen. And that's why we teach individuals, or we help individuals to keep their frequencies high. Mm-hmm. And we work on that ourselves, right? And does that mean you won't get attachments or possessions?
No.
No, but they'll be less frequent.
Right.
However, we've seen how, with our own kids, with our family members, how often do we get sick?
We hardly get sick.
Exactly. We don't.
Right.
And that's because we've raised our frequency. Our kids have raised their frequency through decreeing and the things that we do to the point that no virus or no bacteria can attach to them because their frequency is too low compared to where our frequency is.
Right.
If you know that you're working on raising your frequency and you continue to raise it, then you should have no concern about being ill or being affected by any disease.
Right.
Because it's not going to happen. That's what frequency is. Frequency helps you keep everything away. Attachments, they wait for you to drop to their frequency. When you drop to the frequency of that entity or that energy that's floating around you, then it attaches to you.
Okay.
And depending on what it carries with it, it affects you in a certain way.
Okay. So that is how things attach to you through frequency. So what causes the drop in frequency?
Ooh, well, you could answer that one. All right, so let's hear your explanation. You always have good explanations. Your explanations are better than mine, by the way. You know, mine are too complicated. So go ahead.
Okay, it happens from different changes in your environment, such as you're at work and you start to get stressed out. Well, stress is a negative emotion and it lowers your frequency. There's a death in your family, all of a sudden you get really sad. That's a lowering of frequency. You could be like me and be watching a Disney movie and be thinking, oh, it's such a lovely song, what a great scene, and I start crying and my frequency is lowered and bam, you get attachments. Yes, this has happened to me. You could be get hurt somehow. There's an accident and you hurt your hand. And, oh, the pain that, and then you're focused on that lowers your frequency. So there are different ways for your frequency to be lowered.
Very easy ways, right?
Very easy ways, yes. And someone who has for years been battling with different allergies or other simple physical things, I'll call them, because it's not like major cancer, diabetes or other things, but that also lowers your frequency. During the change of the seasons, the allergies kick in and your frequency gets lowered because now your body is trying to maintain a balance to stay healthy, and at that point you can start to get sick and have other things happen.
It's the other way though. By the time you have the allergic reaction, you already lowered your frequency. The only reason why you get the allergy is because your frequency got lowered enough to that of the cause of the allergy.
Thank you for correcting that.
Make sense? Mm-hmm. Remember, I used to have allergies all the time.
You did. He did.
And I'll be knocked out. Well, I'm just laying in bed. Now, I don't have those things.
I'd be giving him all kinds of remedies.
Yeah, that's before I decided to.
That was before he embraced.
There you go.
His wonderful spiritual help.
But since then, it's been completely different.
It has been.
We don't pollen. That's overrated.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned.
Not the same anymore.
Not exactly. In the past, I would be sneezing, my eyes would itch.
Just a simple temperature change in our house, going from a warm bedroom to maybe the first floor of the house where it's cooler, that 5-6 degree drop in temperature, my husband would start sneezing and coughing and runny eyes and stuffy nose just from a simple temperature change. And you'd think, well, why is that? Well, thankfully my husband got it.
We were told that it's just allergy.
It's allergy.
And for years we just accepted that. Oh, it's allergy again. And now we don't have that happen. Because the frequency has been raised.
Right.
And that's all, folks. We just want you to learn. Like, is that Donald Duck that goes, that's all, folks?
I think it's a lot of the Looney Tunes characters that do that at the end of the shows.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so that's...
But that's all frequency, and we were talking about attachments and how they attach to us when our frequency is lowered. So now what about a possession?
Well, how does an attachment affect you? Before we get to that.
Yes.
And what kinds of attachments can you have? Because you send messages out to individuals, you had so many attachments. At least with this, they'll know what that entails, what that means.
Right.
So an attachment could be a thought form. Yeah, a negative, and they're all negative, so we won't
have to say negative. Right? Exactly. We just know that they're all negative.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be getting rid of them. So thought forms, curses, hexes, spells, negative programs. Those are all attachments. They can only attach to you. They can't enter your body.
Lost souls?
Well, that's a whole different story. Some lost souls will attach to you. Remember that. Some.
Right, some will.
Also, when we say lost souls, we're talking about individuals that have passed away, but they don't know that they've passed away. And those normally occur, or those are souls, that will normally happen because it was a sudden death. Maybe they got shot. Maybe they were in a car accident or some kind of accident. It was so sudden that they think they're still alive. And literally, that's why they normally stay at the location where the event took place.
Got it.
Okay? Because they still think that it's like time is suspended. They're still there. So those are lost souls. And then when they can, because they're trying to get attention, they'll attach to someone that happens to be at that same frequency that they happen to be.
Got it.
Right? Then we have souls that have passed away, and they know they've passed away, but they're afraid to cross over. They never believe in God or anything like that, so they're afraid, like, what do I do now? They're just really confused about what's going on. So they're floating around trying to figure out what to do. They can attach to you as well. Both scenarios, the energy from those souls can attach to your frequency now based on who you are and your habits, and that's the frequency we're talking about. So for example, if you're someone that goes to pubs, and you guys don't call them pubs, bars. You go to a bar, right? your frequency might be very similar to a soul that also frequents pubs. So because your frequency is the same, that soul attaches to you. And now you might not even realize that there's an energy attached to you because you're still doing the same thing.
Right.
You're going to pubs, you're drinking. If you smoke,
Same thing with smoking.
exactly. So a soul that smokes a lot will come and attach to you because you're the same frequency.
Recreational drug use.
Same thing, you know. Or if you're someone that curses a lot, if you're someone that abuses people.
Curses is in bad words.
Right. Okay. You know, if you abuse people, like, you know, physical abuse, things like that, then if that soul did the same thing when it was alive, it attaches to you. That's how that works.
Got it.
Okay, now, if you're a teacher in this lifetime, and that person, that soul was a teacher, and your frequency is the same as far as maybe you guys do the same kind of work, can attach to you as well. So it's not just negative stuff. It could also be something positive.
So there might be a spirit out there who's not admitting that they're dead and sees another teacher and says, "Oh, I can help because I was a teacher," and then they just attach to you and try to influence you.
And they think they're helping you. And there's some people that say, "Oh, I feel like I have this guardian angel helping me."
Right.
Well, it's a soul that's passed on, trying to do work through you. It's not something you want to entertain. Now, some people would want that. They're like, "Oh, no, I feel fine with it. Leave it there." Okay, then we leave it.
That's your free will.
Exactly. All right, but you don't want those attachments. Now, going to your question about, and then of course, that's how they'll affect you, you know, so you might start drinking more.
Or smoking more,
Exactly.
doing more drugs, or maybe saying more bad words.
Or if you're teaching, the way you teach might change a little bit. You might realize all of a sudden you start to do things differently.
Right, and you're like, why did I start doing that?
Exactly, right? So now with possessions is where an entity takes over your body. It doesn't have to be the entire, when they take over your entire body, that's what they call the exorcism kind of thing.
Right.
You know, so that can happen. We've never had one of those where it's complete. But they do possess your body. They get into your body and they take over part of your body. And so then you start to behave differently.
Right.
And people notice that. Maybe you never drank before, all of a sudden now you're drinking. You know, your behavior changes for sure. And those come in the form of demons. You know, that's the biggest one. And there are different types of them. And they have different names.
Lots of different kinds of demons.
Exactly. Now, don't let that scare anybody, because we can get rid of those. You know, we've done that many times. That's where you could also have souls that are passed on, where they come in and instead of just attaching to you, they take over your body because they want to live
through
their life through you. You know, we had a couple of cases like that where the person just became a completely different person.
Right. Yes.
And, once that was taken care of, the person, they don't even remember what happened because it wasn't them.
Right.
You know, so we have those. Those are possessions, where you were actually taken over by an entity of some kind, and it will normally be an entity that will do that.
Now, what about like I hear you talk about astral snakes and astral spiders as well when you're doing work with possessions.
Right. Those are actually attachments. They're more attachments than possessions. So I've changed now. As a matter of fact, you probably don't realize it. Maybe you haven't been in the room with me.
I haven't been in for the last few times you've done
I've
work.
changed that, where it's a little different now. You know, I'm always working on changing things. So it's a little different the way we deal with possessions and attachments now.
Okay.
Even one that this might throw people off. The one I'm about to say, they're like, wait a minute, does that exist? Yes, we've had it. Where we have ET entities, extraterrestrials, right? That are attached to people, or that are possessing people.
Right.
So we always check for those as well. And we handle that on both the possession. Now I handle that on the attachment side more than the possession.
Okay.
And the reason why we do that.
Got it.
So, and then we also have implants. That's another really strange one, where folks have implants in them and different things are being done to them and they don't realize it. Now all this sounds really far-fetched, folks, I know. But believe me, we have worked on these things, and once they're removed, you can see the difference in people. They just change.
Right.
Their
Dark
lives
devices,
improve, exactly.
dark connections.
So those are more attachment, and the implants are different.
Right. Okay.
Does that answer that question?
I think that answers the question.
Okay. So now, as far as possessions, of course, that's when behaviors completely change. We have to get rid of those. You know, so we normally check then for what? Attachments, possessions. You know, we check for these platforms, curses, hexes, spells, a whole bunch of things that folks might not realize that we check on. But when you get the message about attachments, hopefully now, based on this video, you'll understand what it refers to. Because it would be a long message to say, oh, well, you had astral snakes or astral spiders, right? Oh, those are the ones that come in. Obviously, you see the bite. You can talk about that. You had a video on that.
Yes, I actually did record a video about that. That I was in the kitchen cooking one day, and I was by myself. All of a sudden, I felt this pain in my ankle, and I looked down at my ankle, and there was blood there and puncture wounds. I thought, what in the world? I started looking around for a spider or something that could have caused that. The 2 puncture wounds, and I didn't see anything anywhere. So I went and I told my husband about it. He did a check on me, and sure enough, it was an astral snake that had come through in the middle of the day and just bit me. That was kind of creepy, but really cool at the same time.
Why was that cool?
It's cool because, I kind of wondered, really, are there really such things as astral snakes and astral spiders that come from whatever dimension and attack us and then leave? And why do they do that? And when it really happened, I was like, okay, yeah, this is real.
Who knows?
No joke.
You probably pulled it in by thinking that.
I might have. I might have, yes. You know, because I used to get strange bites and marks on my body all the time. I'd be like, how did I get a bad bite on my side here, you know, or under my arm? What in the world, you know? No, that explained a lot, though. Now I don't get them.
Well,
thank
yeah,
God
you're taking care of it. So if folks have that experience, they know. We also have individuals that have reported they'll get up in the morning and they have cuts on them, unexplained cuts. I mean, they've been sleeping, so how could they cut themselves, right?
Yeah,
so we've had
and cuts in strange places, like on their chest or on their hips.
And those are from possessions that we know.
Right.
So if you have those things, you know, just reach out so we can check and see what's causing those, and then we can help you get rid of them and get you back on track so you feel fine.
Okay.
I hope that. Oh, so with possessions, then, if you ever get the message about possessions, we're talking about demons of different kinds. And we just know we won't go into all the details. Right?
We don't. I'll just send a message that there were possessions, there were spirit attachments, or there were curses, whatever it was. May have been there. If clearing work was done on you.
Right. So that's the main one, and then it might also be some individual that passed away that has decided to somehow, not just decide, because your frequency has to be at the same as theirs for that to happen, but they have possessed your body. So it's either the dark forces, the demonic forces, or soul that's passed away, and that normally would be possessions. Otherwise, we're talking about the astral spiders, astral snakes, and all those are attachments on the other side. Possessions are more serious, I'd say. They affect you in a tougher way. You get some really bad headaches and serious pain, you know. And we've seen, by the way, that many times, many individuals that have come to us for help or contacted us for help, I'd say maybe, what percentage would you say, the moment that we get rid of the attachments and possessions, that they were pretty much fine? We didn't have to do anything else.
On a daily basis? Golly, I'd say at least 97, 98%.
Okay. So the majority of individuals, when they experience something, whether it could be that they're not getting along with their spouse or their girlfriend or whatever it is, I'd say, let's say 90, just to be conservative.
Okay, my husband wants to be conservative.
Right.
90%.
So 90% of the time, it's because of attachments or possessions. So the first thing we do is we check on those and then get rid of those, and then wait a few days to see if they were the actual cause of what's going on in somebody's life. And like I said, 90% of the time, that's it. That's all we have to do.
Right.
The other 10% of the time, then we have to go back and do additional work. Maybe they were diagnosed with cancer, it's some disease of some kind, or some other things going on. We realize, okay, 10%, let's get to work on these. And then we do healing work. And that can take a while, depending on what it is.
But the bottom line is, as long as your frequency is not always steady, it's not staying balanced or high, then you are susceptible to getting possessions and attachments. It's just a part of life. And once you've had a clearing done on you, you can feel it. You know when there's something not right. And then next time you feel something, you just send us a message. And it's kind of like an onion. There are layers of learning for all of us, but then also in our lives, we have different things that we're dealing with. And as things come up and we work through them, it's another layer of ourselves that has been removed that, can help us to making sure our frequency stays elevated.
And again, just as for people to know, it's not easy in the beginning to keep your frequency high and to keep it consistent. It will go down. You will get attachments and possessions. It happens initially. It happens a lot initially. Then it becomes less frequent.
Yes.
Some people, they get them once or twice and that's it. Another thing is, if you take prescribed medication, they lower your frequency.
They do.
So don't be surprised if you're taking, especially painkillers, because they numb your senses. And when that happens, then there are many times when we have to go in and you'll get messages about, oh, you had possession attachments. And you might be wondering, what did I do wrong? You didn't do anything wrong. That's just the way it goes. Right.
And just as we mentioned in another video, recreational drugs and alcohol, tobacco, those lower your frequency as well. So just be aware of that. When you're around those kinds of environments, your frequency can get lowered, especially if you're partaking of those things on a physical level.
Okay.
Anything else you want to discuss or cover with this topic?
No.
All right. Hopefully this answers questions about possessions and attachments for you. If you find this information helpful and want to share it, please do so. Remember to like the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, join us on our Facebook group called Clearing, Healing, and Guidance. And that's all, folks.